power of the pause, isn't there? There's power in just stillness and really calming our nervous system. Emotional freedom tapping.
Used it in a way to kind of replace the neurological pathways and shut off the fight or flight. As it relates to some of the limiting beliefs I was having around becoming a solo mum, I was worried about what people would think. I hadn't told my family.
Welcome to the Yes I Can solo podcast. Yes I Can is an inner knowing you come home to, a supportive space for women navigating solo motherhood, sharing real stories and the inner shifts that help you feel steady, safe and connected, moving out of overthinking into clarity, confidence and excitement. I'm your host, Betty Fotofili, solo mum by choice. Let's explore the magic of doing it your own way. Today I'm going to be talking to Nicky. Hi, Nicky. Thanks for coming. And we've got a special guest today.
Thank you for having me. Someone is usually asleep at this time, but today he's hungry at this time. So this is his first podcast.
There you go. So Nicky is a solo mum by choice to two boys, and she is in Jersey over in the UK. Where exactly is Jersey? Can you remind me?
Yeah, Jersey is a small island in between England and France, and we're actually closer to France than we are England, but we are a British isle, but we have like our own government.
And you have your own money, don't you?
We have our own money, but it is sterling, yeah.
Yes. I remember. That's all I remember with people that have gone there. You've got to have your own sterling or something to go there. So welcome. Thank you for coming on. So the way I know Nicky is she came up on my feed on Instagram, and as soon as I read her posts, I was like, "This is my girl." 2 years apart, loves R&B, grew up with R&B, and and what I love about when I was reading your posts, like you were very grounded in your choice of being a solo mum. It was like you were very proud of it. And I was just telling you before that I was proud in my inner circle, but then I was a bit shy to tell people at work, and I was definitely not posting about it back then because I still hadn't done any work, and I just kind of disassociated myself from the feelings that were coming up of shame and judgment and all of those, which were basically my own in my head. But anyway, I'll let you tell us your story. So what were you doing before you become a solo mum, and how did it all start?
Okay, so I always obviously knew that I wanted to be a mum, but I didn't really have I wasn't really broody throughout my 30s. I think a lot of my friends had babies in their 20s, and I was broody then because there were all these beautiful, cute babies. But then those babies turned into children, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I think whenever the thought of motherhood entered my head, I thought, well, I've got a lot of time to meet someone,
How old were you then?
I was probably early 30s, heading towards mid-30s.
Okay.
I was like, I've got lots of time to meet someone. And I was kind of in a situationship which I had always hoped would have a different outcome. So I was kind of hanging on to that. Anyway, around about 36, 37, I really did start to feel that maternal pull. And of course, when you're thinking about these things, I thought, do you know what? I actually don't have that much time left. So we're told, right? I actually don't have that much time left now. And it started really to become a little bit more of an ache, rather than a pull, because I wasn't in a relationship. And I really did try to meet someone, but I found that so dull and boring and draining. And it's not really what I wanted. What I wanted was to be a mum. So I was just doing research. I was just Googling people's stories. I knew a few solo mum by choice women, and a friend of mine was actually going through the process as well and had been. So I really did have people to talk to about it. And then, I just started the process. I got my first appointment to speak to what we call here ARU, which is the assisted reproductive unit at the hospital. And I said to my friend who was going through this process, do you know what? I think I might just try to meet Mr. Right one more time. I don't know why I said that. And she was like, but still keep the appointment. Just go because the process takes so long.
Mm.
You know, your first appointment, they're not going to hold you to anything. Keep the appointment. So I did. And it really became clear through that appointment that it wasn't really a relationship that I wanted. It was a baby, it was to be a mum. And that was the first time it really felt very normal because obviously they see this all the time, where to me it was this big thing. It wasn't normalized. I hadn't told my family that this is what I was thinking. I had told some friends, but not my family. So it was this big secret almost, this big thing. Um, and that was the first time it was really quite normalized for me. So I had that first consultation, and I just started the process from there. Looked at sperm banks, found the sperm bank that I really connected with, because
Wow.
that there are different. You do get a different experience just kind of from looking at the website and looking at what information is available. And I chose California Cryobank. I just felt like they had so much more information about the sperm donors and not just stats, things about their
Mm.
personality, their outlook, that was important to me.
Yeah.
So, and
Um,
choice, actually.
well, that's great. I mean, from you thinking, oh, I'm going to try for Mr. Right one more time, and then just all of a sudden going
Yeah,
straight ahead with it. It's funny, isn't it, how when we just create this big thing in our head and it grows and grows and grows and it's all our imagination. And then when you just go to the doctor, it's like, oh, is that all? In a sense,
yeah,
because it's just because when you make the appointment, and I always say to women, just make the appointment, just do
yeah,
it, because once you do, you're grounded in the present and you're just moving forward instead of going, what if, what if, what if? And they just go, this. And you're like, oh, okay. So, you've got this much egg count and you don't. And you're like, oh, well, I better move forward. Or it just grounds you a lot more. So that was a really speedy process.
yeah. So I actually had that first consultation in 2000, in October, maybe September 2018, and then I fell pregnant with my first son in 2000 in the October 2019.
Oh,
So it
oh, you
was
felt pregnant in 2009. So it was over about a year or just
it
under a year.
was it was because it is um sorry, financially um draining.
Yeah.
Um so I had to pause to get cash flow back up. And also my first IUI didn't work. And because up until that point I'd spent so much money, like I was very disappointed that it hadn't worked. I really did just say to myself, I don't think I can do this again in 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
Waiting, I was like, do you know what? I am going to go to the gym, get physically and mentally stronger. I'm going to build up my finances again. And I'm going to go on holiday with the girls and just have some fun because everything was so heavy. And I did that. And then the following cycle, I was like, yeah, I could do that again. And that was the cycle that I fell pregnant with my first son.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Doesn't it make such a difference when you just tap into joy and into your
yeah,
body, or like instead of like hanging around going, oh, tight, no, I'm going to do it. No, I find like I delayed for so long because I feel like, no, got to prove my worth. I'm going to save more. I'm going to be responsible. And honestly, I didn't need to save more. It was like I don't know, it was like this busy trying to do it. And I find like a lot of women and a lot of career women, like most of us, like you, or
yeah,
like that, we get so locked into having to prove our worth, or we get praised for being strong and being the strong lady. And so then we go, oh, I want to be the good girl still. So we just keep doing it. And it was like I had to prove to myself that no, guys, I can do it all. I can have the baby. I can do it. And I was just like, and I'm like, just have the baby now. And until a girlfriend who was a solo mum by choice, she just went, actually, how old are you? And she goes, I always think you're younger, but dude, if you need to have a baby by this date so you can have a baby before 40, if that's what you want. And I went, oh, yeah, I want to have a baby by 40. So that's what really clicked for me. And I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
So so wow. And so yeah, you had a joyful away with the girlfriends, and then you came
Yeah.
back, you were charged. Is it's just the power of the pause, isn't there? There's power in just
Yeah.
stillness. And I know you write a bit about, us how, like really calming our nervous system. Had you done a lot of work because you're an EFT trainer as well?
Yeah, I
EFT,
trained in that.
if you're listening, is emotional freedom tapping, everybody. So did you do that before you had a baby or before
Oh,
the process?
yeah, it was years and years ago. There was a training course here for it, and I really liked using it. And then I thought, why don't I just train just to learn more about it? So it was a very long time ago. Um, but yeah, so I did use EFT, but I didn't use it in a way to calm my nervous system. I used it in a way to kind of replace the neurological pathways and shut off the fight or flight
Mm,
as it relates to some of the limiting beliefs I was having around becoming a solo mum. So whilst I'm grounded in that decision now, I was worried about what people would think.
yeah.
I hadn't told my family what I was doing, and I had created a lot of drama in my head around that. and I and I would do like an ego purge. So that's where I would just sit and journal of all the things I was scared about, all of the limiting beliefs that I was having. And then I would take the strongest one, the one that felt the most uncomfortable, and I would just tap. So I just tap on the meridian points of my body, and it would really just shut off my fight or flight so that those limiting beliefs, the trigger was reduced slightly.
Yeah.
So that's how I used EFT, just
Yeah.
to calm down the physical reaction I was having to some of my thought
Limiting
processes.
beliefs. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean that really is calming your nervous system because what it is when we I guess when we breathe in, that's the like we're triggering the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight because we're taking a deep breath for survival.
Yeah.
And then we exhale. And then so everyone, because you don't really have hands free, the meridian points, it's very similar to acupuncture. Yes. So,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah. Well, there's some here.
There's the head, inner eyebrow, outer eyebrow, under the eye,
Yep.
under the nose,
Yeah.
the chin, collarbone, bra strap, and the head. And there are actually other points as well, but they're more advanced techniques. And the
Yeah.
karate
Someone,
chop. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love tapping. My son loves tapping. I just love, my favorite one is here and here. My son likes this one and this one, but it really does it. Like it's especially this one. This place is so sensitive. I get my mo threaded, and that's the most sensitive than everywhere. Like I'm always like, ow, ow, but it really shows how strong that point is, and it's so relaxing, and it's really important. Like because most of us live up here in our brain, okay,
Mhm.
and apparently the brain. They've done lots of research, can only hold 5% capacity and 95% is in the body. So what happens is we store all of those like unhealed wounds and all of those things in our body. So it's disguised in there because if we had all of these thoughts going into our brain, we would like probably have a heart attack. So, but yeah, emotion and freedom tapping, that's great. You do that just to release the trigger. Otherwise, it just goes into full blown fight or flight, like a gazelle running from the tiger, full stop.
Yes.
And then what happens is, you either freeze or collapse. And yeah, you gotta, and then but what you do, it sounds like you're doing the nervous system, release the trigger, calm, and then come back to calm. Like you've closed the loop of the explosion, let's say. So that's so good that you did that. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff before. I was more mindset. I was like, da da da. And I think I was just very disassociated. Like I would be like, no, I'm doing the thing. And I was like, da 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 da. And I mean, I got pregnant on the first go. And then it wasn't until later that all of this stuff was coming up for me, that shame. But so
Mm.
good that you did the work beforehand. And then when you did do that, what actually happened? Did you do all that work and then you told your family, or did you get pregnant and tell your family, or how did that?
Yeah. So I told my mum when I was 5 weeks pregnant with my first son, and because I was anxious about like potentially the back and forth between us, I just recorded a video so I could say everything I wanted to say without being interrupted, and I just sent it, and it was like the longest 10 minutes of my life waiting for a reply. And obviously the drama that I had created in my head was all imagined.
Yep.
She was
Stories,
really happy.
stories.
Yeah, and she was really happy. And then I told my dad, and he was really happy too. And I didn't learn from that because when I fell pregnant with my second son, he I also didn't tell my family that I was thinking about it, and I told them when I was about 6 weeks. And this time I wrote a text as if it was from my first son, saying,
Oh,
"Hey Nanny, Mummy's gonna have another baby."
and I'm going to be a big brother.
Yeah.
But
But
and do
again,
they? And yeah, and all it is that us building up stories in our head again.
yeah,
And do
yeah,
they live in Jersey as well? Are they?
yeah, yeah. They're not married to each other anymore, but yes, they are both in Jersey. So the boys still have two sets of grandparents, which is
Oh,
nice.
oh wow, they really scored, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So that's your main, I love it. That's your main thing. You ego. I love that. I've never heard it called the ego perch. Is that what
Yeah,
you call it? Ego
you
perch?
just, yeah, you just, it's just a stream of writing. Just write, just write. So I would start it off like, I really want a baby, but, yeah, and then just write what comes to you. And you gotta write past the point you think you've exhausted everything. Um, Even if you have to repeat yourself, even if it doesn't make sense. Because you know how, like, when we go to the gym and we do press ups, the
Yep.
first few press ups aren't really making a difference. It's the ones that feel challenging towards the end, yeah, that are making the difference. So when you're ego purging, just like a stream of thought, you got to keep going because you're peeling back the layers, you're digging, and then like you get to the core of why this trigger is a trigger. And then if you can tap on that, then you don't have the same physical response. Ooh. The same physical response when you think of that again, or you're reminded about that thing again, that feeling, and then you can just kind of move on.
Exactly. It's like you're making the unconscious conscious and being aware
Mm.
of it, letting it out, like letting all the muddy water come up and the mud come to the surface. And then that's when you can work with it. Because when we bury it, we can't work with it.
Mm.
And yeah, and like you say, with the muscle, we don't actually grow if we don't stress our muscle out. Um,
Yeah.
we've all heard those sessions where you've like been a bit lax in class and you walk around going, did I even go to the gym? It's like when we put ourselves through the pain, that's when we actually have the growth on the other end. So yeah, I love that analogy. And it's so true. So ego perch, you just got to journal out however messy it is, but you got to get to the most uncomfortable. I love it. Yeah, because it's like, what's underneath that? What's underneath that? And I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, it's like, why do you care about why do I care? I want a baby, but what will my work friends think? And then you go, but they'll think that I'm like, and then you like, I know I'm just giving
Yeah.
examples here.
Yeah.
This is
They'll
what I mean.
think.
I'm a loser and they because I had to I couldn't find a partner, la la la, and keep going, keep
Yeah.
going, keep going. And then eventually I know for me, it was like, oh, because I want validation or I want love. I don't want to be rejected for doing this because I find like a lot of this stems back to our unmet needs
But
as we're children. going, what is it that we all really want? It's really, when it comes down to it, is love and affection. And then you're
Yeah.
thinking, oh, am I going to do this? This is not the normal way that society says. So how am I going to be loved? And it's like you go underneath, go, 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 go. And yeah, you just go crazy. And then, oh,
It's
and
funny.
yeah,
Sorry. It's funny you should say that about because they're going to think I'm a loser and I couldn't find someone. That was a big one that was a big thing for me. But yet, whenever I engage in activities like going on dating sites or actually going on dates or actually giving someone a chance, I was like, I actually don't want this. So I'm on one hand worried about people thinking I'm going to be a loser because I couldn't find someone, but on the other hand, I was trying to do that and it didn't feel good. It's not really what I wanted. So I knew that that belief that everyone's going to think I'm a loser, that wasn't actually mine. That was something that society has told me that that my worth is basically measured by whether I'm in a relationship or not. And it wasn't my belief to hold, because when I actually did that thing and tried to go on dates and I met some nice people, I met some not so nice people, I was like, oh, this is draining. This is not really what I want. I've just been told for so long it's what I should want, you know?
totally. Because we get imprinted so when we're so young as well.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes part of our personality trait, or it becomes an adaptation of what we think we need, and we're trying to like fit into a mold. He's so cute. But I love, hey, you needed to go on those dates to know that you didn't want them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'd be like, actually, oh, maybe I could have, but now you went on them to show you what you didn't want, which is great.
And
Great
and I
outcome.
tell you, I'll tell you what was the deal breaker. I remember thinking, right, I'm going to sign up to a proper dating site, like a high-endish one, like a proper professional one. Nothing that was quite, at that time, it was like Plenty of Fish and things like that. And that really didn't interest me. I thought, if I want to find someone who is serious and who is really looking for a relationship, I'm going to have to join a proper dating site, something that's a bit more professional. And by that time, I'd already been looking at sperm donors and the costs of that. And a vial of sperm at the time was about $900, right?
Are you
Um,
UK, no, sterling? Yeah. Or no,
no, it
US,
was
because you went
dollars.
to Cryobank in California, Cali.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I purchased from there and they shipped it over. So I had shipping costs and customs and all of that on top. And I just thought, reasonable, right? And then when I went to sign up to a dating site, I think they wanted something like £235 off me a month. And I was like,
Oh,
no.
wow.
I was like, nah, definitely not. And for me, like obviously we all value money, but I value where I spend it. And to me, it just wasn't good enough value for me. So I was like, okay, that has made it clear what I actually value here. And
Yeah,
that's because
exactly. That's not my priority.
no,
And then also, like, I guess there's an added pressure. I found that as well when you're dating and you want to have that kid, or you're getting to reach your 40s. So there's that added pressure of like, do I have to just get down to it? Like, do you want kids? La la la, da, 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 all of that. And it's like,
yeah,
but I know, like, for me, I don't know if this is for you, but I the past relationships, the serious relationships I've had, it's been like an immediate spark. Like, and I haven't
yeah,
gone into only one relationship where there wasn't that much of a spark, but I just did it anyway because I was getting closer towards the 40-year-old mark. So I just did it anyway. But I like the serious relationships that I have that have been very reciprocal and loving, and all of those have been a spark. So I would think that, oh no, I might just meet someone and it's going to be a spark and it's going to be fireworks straight away and it's going to be great. And then I realized that no, just freaking have the baby. Just make the
yeah,
damn decision.
yeah.
He's so cute and calm.
Yeah, he's gonna be sleepy now, but he loves to move all of the time. This is why I'm jigging about, because if I stay still, you'll know about it.
Loving this conversation? Hit subscribe so you never miss a dose of magic, real stories, and those little shifts that help you feel unstoppable. And hey, share this with a friend who could use a little yes, I can energy in their life too.
But I think that's because
Totally.
I'm a retired-ish dance instructor, so he was always
Oh,
moving, weren't you? You were
oh, so
always
yes,
moving.
let's get into that because I
Mm.
mean, like, I feel maybe is it because I mean, you are so proud of your journey and your choice. You've owned your path. Maybe it's got to do with your dancing as well, because we do release a lot
Mm.
of stress through body, through that. Do you feel like that may have helped you along, and also the tapping and I mean, you move around a lot, and you enjoy because you're
Yeah.
listening. I'm guessing to music that you love at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. And I taught adult women, so that was kind of like um where my kind of purpose and where I was best at was teaching adult women and connecting with them. So all of my dance classes were the aim was to, make women feel not just physically stronger and to help them believe in themselves, but to be mentally as well, and just to feel empowered and to do to go down your own path. So maybe, and I've just always been someone that never really waited for anyone to do something I wanted to do. Like um, none of my friends had been to university, and I was like, that's kind of what I want to do. So maybe I'm just going to be the first one to do it, or um, I'm going to go traveling on my own. I'm going to go to Australia traveling on my own. So I never really waited for people to come along for the ride. I just I kind of
You
just,
just dance to your own beat.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. And so so you had a dance business? Is that what
Mhm.
you were running a business, and then now that's retired or put on hold for now? Because I mean, you've got little Bubba. How are you managing
Yeah,
that? To like, where's the older one now? And
yeah. So with my business, I actually sold it in July. But unfortunately, I'm now in a legal situation with the purchaser. So unfortunately, that didn't go to plan. Um, but yeah, I don't have the business anymore, and I'm going to build something new that fits around the children, because all of my work was done in the evenings, and it was getting hard even with one child. Like I would
mm,
pick him up from school and then I'd have to go to work, and I just didn't want that. I wanted to be with him, and then I knew with another baby coming along, not only would it be practically difficult, emotionally it would be as well. So I always wanted to move on and build something basically from the internet, so that it would give me scalability,
great.
give us time freedom and
Yeah.
option.
And what type of dancing? So yeah, you could do online dancing, like so many people I know, women that have like trainers online and they buy a package and they do their workouts or
Yeah.
dancing and all of that. So that's going to be amazing. What type of dance do you do?
So I taught like hip hop, heels, and pole dancing.
Oh my gosh, you must have the best core then. So your pregnancy's quite
I did. I did have a good
easy.
call. But I think we're in this season of life, in terms of actually teaching dance, it's going to be like short, sharp bursts,
Yep.
as and when I feel like it. And then my business is going to be more social media content creation based.
Okay, well, we'll be seeing you around
Yeah,
for
thank
sure.
you.
Hello, little guy. Now, oh yeah, could you just back to the EFT. After you've done your ego perch and then
Yeah,
you've got it all out, maybe we're crying, maybe we're doing all the things. When you tap, because I know I do, or sometimes I don't, and I know a lot of people do online, do you just tap and think of those thoughts, or do you speak something else out aloud while you're releasing?
yeah.
Or,
I tend to just it's like my inner voice that does it.
yep, once
Because
yeah, let it all
yeah, it's
out.
my inner voice, the kind of this emotion, this belief, what will people think, this anxiety in my chest. And you can't really get EFT wrong. So however you choose to do it, don't spend any mental energy thinking, am I doing this right? Because
Yeah.
it's very hard to get wrong. If you're tapping and you're thinking about the thing that is causing the trigger, you'll be fine. Just a caveat to that, though, if there is something really traumatic that might come up, you are probably best doing it with a professional who can help you, guide you, and close the loop. Um, yeah, just a caveat on that.
Yeah, otherwise, when you're like, for example, if
Yeah,
you're really getting it all out, you can re-traumatize yourself
yeah,
and make it even bigger. So you may need professional help to help you close the loop so you've released it safely and you walk
yeah,
away feeling safe instead of still in flight or fight mode.
exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Um, yeah, I used to, when my son was probably around his age, well, actually, he was a baby, even when he was a toddler, this used to make him go to sleep.
Oh,
I mean,
lovely.
it lasted him for a couple of months and then all of a sudden that wasn't working.
All
But
of a sudden, the goalposts changed.
he does it to me sometimes, like if I'm lying in his bed and I'm like, oh, can you just do that? And he loves doing it to me. It's so this and this one is just like, oh, like, oh, yeah, it's so relaxing. Um, can I ask you, because what's going to happen, ladies, if you haven't started your journey yet, like with life, there's always going to be setbacks, even when you get news from a doctor and all of those things. But when you become a solo mum, even anyone in general, adult life would be boring if there weren't setbacks. So expect them, okay? But what's your little secret of bouncing back after or during a setback
I think there
to
are
calm
two things.
yourself?
I think clarity always comes in engagement. So whatever has happened, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or you're pregnant and you're experiencing trauma like I did with this pregnancy, or you're actually in the trenches of motherhood and there's a setback, clarity always comes in engagement. So you can't think yourself into or out of any problem. You've got to just like make the appointment. You've got to just to do something, even if that something has nothing to do with the setback that you're experiencing. Just really um, moving forward, even if it's just going for a walk with your little one or um, taking action. I find that very easily gets me out of my head, out of my body, and doing something.
Yeah,
Another thing is always, I always, this might sound wishy-washy and it's not very practical, but something that has helped me recently is things happen for me, not to me. And it might not always be obvious and it might not always be pleasant, but you will be okay. Like the fact that you're even thinking about becoming a solo mum means that you've got what it takes to do
totally.
it. And if it wasn't in your heart, it's not a coincidence that it's in your heart. Sorry. It's not a coincidence that it's in your heart. It could be your destiny. So you
Totally.
are more, you're more than
If it,
capable of doing it.
I find when women say to me, "Oh, but I'm always looking at other people and she got pregnant," and whether it's in a couple in a marriage, and I'm like, that's comparison. It's not jealousy. It's actually just showing you a mirror to say, I can do that too. Oh, that's what I
Yeah.
want. That was just a reminder to me. It's just information and data.
Yeah.
But it's so true. It's like things happen for me. Like, I left you a message whenever it says, oh, I think I emailed you and I said, I've lost my phone. And if you all know what happens when you lose your phone, you feel naked. Everyone knows what it feels like. And I just kept on just being like, what are you trying to tell me, universe? What's the reason here? But for surprisingly, I felt really calm. I was still looking for it, and I, like, would go on my computer and messenger my friend and go, "Did you ring the restaurant for me?" and all of those things. But I actually felt quite calm, and I just went to bed and I just said, "What are you trying to tell me?" And I know it was just like, stop looking externally for things. That's what I took the message and I realized how often I check my phone. And it was just nice to go to bed. And of course, it was actually just in my son's room under his book, but I'm always the same as you. I'm always looking. I went, there's a reason for why this has happened. I needed to pause. Maybe I needed to sleep. Maybe I would have been on my phone too late. Who knows? So there's always a reason for something. There's always a lesson behind the darkness. There's always light behind a door that, So I think that's amazing advice for sure.
Another thing that's just prompted me, like I do that, say, what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to tell me? And the answer always comes. But another strategy I used in business or in motherhood and just in life is in say, how can I overcome this? How can I make the money to pay for my treatment? How
Exactly.
how can I stop being so reactive? How can I? And then once you start to ask your brain those questions, it's like a computer. It will come up with the answer. Maybe not
Exactly.
straight away, but it will.
It starts looking for evidence. Now, I know, I mean, I love all these reframes and I use them too, but I know for some people, if they've got a lot of blocks in their body that they haven't dealt with, like I know when I used to, like new to the game, to speak positive thinking and manifesting, I feel like manifesting doesn't work if you're still holding blocks in here and you're not releasing it, like doing your ego perch and letting go of things. And it's much clearer and lighter when you can make sure you tap into your powerful body and resource yourself, even like before you make a decision, even when you're like, I can't afford this, something's happening. Just first of all, pause, take a few deep breaths, like the power in the pause. And then those reframes will be better because you've calmed your nervous system. And then you go, oh, how can I do this? How can I? It just works so much better when you resource yourself and take a few deep breaths first. That helps. You probably are so used to doing that naturally because you're a dancer and all of the things. So you're probably, do you breathe a lot during the day? Like you're like,
Yeah, we breathe,
yeah,
don't we?
well, the baby's very calm. So I imagine that they're being inspired by you daily.
Another thing, another strategy I have as well is you need to pattern break. So if you're in a spiral, one thing you can do is you can either, right, say stop. I'm going to imagine myself walking backwards to the kitchen, and that just stops the pattern of your brain. Or you can actually just do it, walk backwards to the kitchen, and it stops the spiral of whatever it is you're going through.
Exactly. You're doing something the opposite to what you usually do. It's like sometimes, like, you brush your teeth with your right hand instead of your left. Like, yeah, all of those little things or like sometimes just driving down a different route instead of going the same way. But yeah, and once you start practicing these things, I'm going to try that. Just walk backwards. And it's good for kids too. It's like, though I was discussing with a girlfriend here, like, it's like, yes, like there's a certain thing when you pattern interrupt, but then sometimes it's like, are we pushing it under the carpet and not dealing with it? And we've still got to continue this conversation because sometimes it's great if you don't have time to deal with the underlying issue of what's under that, what's under that, what's under that. But for the moment, like if you're at work or you've got to deal with something, pattern interrupts are great. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time because, it's going to come up. And I love this metaphor when they say like cognitive stuff is amazing. And I use it all the time and the neuro and encoding and all of those things. But I quite find if you haven't dealt with the stuff underneath, the cognitive stuff is not always going to work. It's like you've got a brick wall and there's branches coming over the brick wall. Okay. And I find the cognitive thinking stuff is great, but you chop the branches but then they're always going to come crawling back if you haven't really like emptied the stuff that's been held in your body or made that aware. I love that quote. Yeah, when you make it aware and you bring it conscious like you do with your ego perch. I love ego perch. So good.
It's funny that you use the analogy of the branches because that's the analogy that we used to use with that ego purge. What you're doing is you're ripping out the weeds from the root, and you got to keep going until you get that longest root out. Then you can plant new seeds in that fertile soil. Pardon the pun.
Love it. Yeah, you bring out the roots, and then also, yeah, I love it. And because what I didn't say was the brick wall. It comes down, and then you look at the roots. That's what you need to deal with. And yeah, pull the freaking roots out, deal with that, and then it'll be clearer, much clearer. those cognitive stuff is great because it's like you've cleared this stuff, but it's just your stories, those adaptations that we make in our head for survival. Oh my gosh, he's already asleep. Hey, if this is giving you a little spark inside, pause for a second and say it out loud. Yes, I can. Feel that energy, that inner knowing showing you now what's one thing you can do this week to trust yourself a little more. So good. So I've got another question for you before we wrap it all up. Is there, oh yeah, actually, what was the main fear that you had? Was it just what you said, the judgment or?
I think at first, before they knew, it was what my family would say. Not that they would, not that they would think any less of the grandchild or anything, but they'd be like, "But what about?" I was worried about their what ifs, um, and I didn't want that to affect my decision. And then when I actually announced I was pregnant, Jersey's a really small community. It's only
Mm,
9 by 5. There were some nosy people that were prying into who the father was, but they weren't asking me, they were asking my friends. And I felt really exposed and violated by that, and it did bother me. It did bother me. And obviously you're hormonal as well, that they were thinking, and if someone told them I was a sperm donor, I thought they don't actually have that right to know
mm,
anything. It's personal. So there was that was not comfortable for me. But once your baby is born, you do not care. No one, you just do not care. Once you have your baby in your arms, you don't care. And I'm quite comfortable telling people about, oh, well, I am very comfortable about telling people that my children are um, conceived using a sperm donor, the same sperm donor. And I actually feel like now, I feel like, did I mention it too soon? You know? Not that, yeah, that's how comfortable I am. I'm like, did I overshare? So, yeah.
no, it's normal though. Like I love that you are normalizing it. I am now, but I didn't for years. Like I did. I mean, I would if someone asked me, but now it's just like at school or anything, I don't know a parent, they're like, da da da, I went, well, who's, oh no, I'll pick him up and, or if something comes up and I'm like, oh no, no, it's just Opie and I, it's no one else. And I'm just like, yeah, he's donor conceived. And they're like, oh, and quite often people are like, either like, oh, he's donor, okay, yeah. And it's because it's so normal to me. But then other times it's like, oh, wow. And of course they want to hear the whole story and tell me about it. Oh, I'm going to tell my sister about this so she can do it and la, la, la. And, but yeah, I wasn't that proud before, but now I feel like, and it feels good that it is becoming normal because
Mm.
I mean, we live in a society where they praise women for being the boss babe or the boss bish, and how, and really it takes a while to create careers, and then they want to have babies. Obviously, not all of them, but it should be normalized. And actually, I had a girlfriend. She worked for a company called Salesforce, and they actually fund, I don't know how many rounds, 2 or 3 rounds of IVF because of egg collection, because of course they want the women to keep working. So she got I think 3 rounds out of them, and she's got embryos stored. She already has a son, but amazing. I mean, they're an amazing company, but it is becoming normalized, and because women do want to work, and sometimes women are the breadwinners in the family. So I love that it's becoming very normal, and even for some of my son's friends. I mean, my son goes to a very progressive school that they understand what it is. I mean, and he's proud to tell them, not that I think he fully understands, but he does say, no, I've got a donor daddy. And he's quite proud of it. And, that might change with time. But yeah, can I ask you, is there something that you regret of being a solo mum, or is there something that you would have done differently or a different order or?
No, I think like your path is your path,
Mm.
isn't it? And um, it all turned out great for me, and um, yeah. But
He goes,
I
yeah, it
think,
did.
yeah. But I think what I think something that I often speak to some of my friends about is back when, I mean, it was only like six, because my oldest son is 5.5 now. So it was only 6 years ago. Not many women were having conversations about not having children, and what life would look like then. I don't think if I'd had that conversation, I would have made a different decision. I think I wanted to be a mum. But I do think now a lot more women are having those conversations and what life looks like without children. And I think that it would have been good to have that conversation with someone, and and to be open and explore that. It wouldn't have changed my decision because I have these two little snuffle bugs here. But I do think it's important for women not to think that they have to have children if it's not necessarily what they want. Like it's like just as it's important, if you don't want to find Mr. Right, that's fine too. Have that conversation and
Oh,
be
totally.
okay. Be okay with that.
Yeah, I actually have a girlfriend that thought that she wanted kids for so many years. She comes from a very family orientated and it was like, that's just what my aunties told me. Oh, we'll find you a husband. And like, it was just, and she always had her family and extended family around. They're always cooking, la, la, la. And she thought she wanted to. But when it came down to it, she did all the work and unpacked. She goes, I actually don't want kids. And I've got another girlfriend that knows that she doesn't want kids. But it's important because sometimes it's like we're so influenced as children, even when we're his age, before our brain is even formed. It's just the energy in the household of like family. This is what happens. Oh, like, and it just gets passed down, and you think, oh, is that what I want? But really, no. It's for some people, it's not. So yeah, that's a good point to bring up to be like, do you actually want children, or is it a societal thing because you can make babies doesn't mean you have to have them.
Mm. Do I really want a husband? Probably not. I don't know any women who have had a husband who are looking for another one.
Actually, do you feel, do you feel oh, actually well, they've done like studies in America and Stan University and all of that they've actually and the lady Elizabeth who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Made another book. I forgot
Oh,
what it's
okay.
called, but she's got all the statistics that she's saying that show that single women are actually happier than married women.
Yeah.
They have less depression. All of the stats are in there because what happens is in the couple household, they get used to leaning on the mum. The mum does everything. The husband's super happy, but she's like, yeah. So it's like, do we really want to get married? Do you want to find love? I mean, I mean, right now you're a bit busy, and your breasts are a bit busy too, probably, or whatever. But do you see yourself engaging
Oh,
and finding love in the future or wanting to?
may, yeah, maybe like it was never a goal for me ever. I've had boyfriends, and but those they kind of happened organically. And the reason I tried to find Mr. Right just one more time was because I thought, why don't I treat finding a relationship like I treat my business? Let's set a goal.
Mm,
Let's be intentional, because I'd never done that before. And then that's really, again, clarity came in engagement. When I started doing that, I was like, no, but maybe I
you
like,
like this overrated, whatevs.
yeah, if it happens, it happens. I'm cool with that. Just in a different season right now.
Yep.
Um,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
if the man
You're
of my
busy.
dream would find me whilst I'm home, comfy, cozy, fine. But I don't really want to be out looking, or it's not something that I want to actively engage in right now.
Well, one of my single separated girlfriends has been starting on the online dating and she's been going on dates and stuff. And a few of the men have said, do you know women in their 40s that are single with a child is hot property right now. They're like, we love them. We don't want you to. We don't like we like the older ones because you've had experience. You know beating around the bush. You know what you want.
Yeah.
You're hot property. And she's like, yeah, because I've been saying, should I go on the apps? Yeah, I'm going to go on the apps. And I'm like, do you put your real age? She goes, put your real age because you are hot property right now. And it's true. Like even when I decided to go on the journey, and I did tell a few people, and there are a few men, like even while I was pregnant, and I said, "Oh yeah, no, I've had." They go, "You could have asked me; I would have helped out." And I was just like, all of it. And I found like with other solo moms by choice have said, "Yeah, so many," because they're like, "Well, you're doing it on your own, and there's no attachment, so I'll help you out." And they're kind of attracted to someone that's just doing their thing without needing validation. I mean, we still
Yeah.
did it, but run deep down inside back then, I was still like, I want everyone to validate me. But it is attractive. Yeah, I want the validation. Tell me I'm doing good. But yeah, it's very attractive. Like you're doing it on your own. I mean, I guess maybe it's that praise of strong woman, she can do it all. But yes, but I do think it's important that yes, we do it all, but we can't abandon ourselves, and we need to make sure we look after our bodies and our
I do think as well that once you have what you want, in our case, the babies, going into relationships with men, whether you want it to be serious or whether you do just want it to be a bit lighter, it feels a lot more fun because you're not attached to the
yeah,
outcome that this has to go somewhere because I want a baby, I want this to go somewhere. And once I'd had my first son, this kind of situationship I was in before him, it wasn't very enjoyable for me actually because I always was trying to control the outcome because I wanted
yeah.
up with him, I wanted a baby. And then after I had my first son, about 2 years after he was born, we actually reconnected, and it was just so much more fun. I
That's
relaxed
great.
more
Yeah. You're not like
because,
going, I want, and tightening up. You're just like, whatever. I'm not
yeah,
forcing this. So
yeah, and it
good.
was so much more fun.
Yay. Well, this has been a great conversation. I feel like I want to get you back on here for, later down
We
the
can do
track.
a part two.
Yeah, we'll do a part two because we got so much to talk about. Well, thank you so much, and thank
Oh.
you for your son for turning up for his first podcast as well. Um, and if anyone wants to reach out to Nikki, I'll put her details down here for Instagram, and yeah, follow her because she will have a dancing business coming at you online from anywhere in the world soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Yes, I Can Solo. Remember, yes, you can, and the magic comes from trusting yourself, doing it your own way. If this episode has resonated with you, please subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave a review. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm Betty, solo mum by choice, and I'll see you in the next episode as we keep moving towards clarity, confidence, and excitement.